GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Here are our top stories.
Good Food has filed an application with the Superior Court of Quebec seeking creditor protection and indicating a possible sale of the meal kit business, aiming to shield itself from mounting debts. Simon Fortier has the full story.
Good Food has lodged an application with the Superior Court of Quebec seeking creditor protection, and the filing notes the company may put the business up for sale. The move comes as the Montreal-based meal kit provider wrestles with mounting debt and a tightening cash flow. Court documents show the request aims to shield Good Food from creditors it currently owes money to, giving the firm breathing room while it evaluates options. The application was submitted on August 5, 2026, and marks a new chapter in the company's effort to restructure amid ongoing financial pressure. Officials declined to comment on the likelihood of a sale or the next steps in the legal process. Simon Fortier, GMNA News, Montreal.
Director Jacob Tierney has taken to social media asking fans to give the heated rivalry crew room as filming for Season 2 gets underway in Montreal and Toronto. He posted a clear request that onlookers stay clear of the active sets, emphasizing that the production needs space to work without interference. The series, which kicked off its second season this week, is shooting across both cities, moving between downtown locations and studio lots. Crew members say the call helps keep schedules on track and protects both equipment and public safety. Fans are reminded that barricades and signage mark the zones, and that respecting those boundaries lets the cast focus on delivering the drama viewers love. The production continues through the coming weeks, with both cities sharing the workload. Local authorities are monitoring the areas to ensure compliance.
Historian Genevieve Pronavas says the name Beaubien Street traces back to a 17th-century landowner, Jacques-Louis de Beaubien, who helped shape the early settlement that later became the island's core. De Beaubien acquired a large parcel along the present-day thoroughfare in the early 1700s, establishing a ferry crossing and a modest trading post that served both French voyageurs and indigenous traders. His advocacy for a regular market and his role in negotiating land grants earned him a reputation for public service, prompting municipal leaders in the late 19th century to memorialize him when the road was formally laid out. Today the street runs from the Plateau Monter Royal District through Rosemont-La Petite Patrie, a daily reminder of the early civic contributions that helped knit the community together. Pronavas' research, based on notarial archives and parish records, confirms that the Beaubien family also funded first schoolhouse on the lane, reinforcing legacy of education in neighborhood.
Police from Quebec and Ontario are jointly investigating a cache of stolen vehicles and aluminum ingots uncovered on a St. Julie property, marking a coordinated cross-border effort. Simon Fortier has the full story.
Police from Quebec and Ontario have teamed up on a joint probe after a cache of stolen vehicles and aluminum ingots was uncovered on a property in St. Julie, in the Montérégie region. Investigators say dozens of cars were taken from various locations and hidden alongside heavy metal ingots that appear to have been stripped from industrial shipments. The discovery was made during a routine search of the site, prompting both provincial forces to launch a coordinated operation aimed at tracing the origins of the stolen assets and identifying the network behind the haul. Officers are now combing through vehicle identification numbers and metal markings to link the items to known theft rings, while forensic teams document the scene. Simon Fortier, GMNA News, St. Julie.
The Department of National Defense confirmed that a Quebec native who faced a terrorism-related charge in 2025 is no longer serving in the Canadian Armed Forces. The soldier was formally accused last year of facilitating a terrorist activity, an allegation that triggered an internal review. Following the charge, military officials stripped him of his rank and terminated his service, citing the seriousness of the offense and the need to uphold the force's integrity. No further details about the case have been released, and the investigation remains under the jurisdiction of civilian authorities. Defense spokespersons emphasized that the armed forces have a zero-tolerance policy for any involvement in extremist actions and that the removal was carried out in accordance with existing regulations. The move underscores the armed forces' commitment to maintaining public trust and operational readiness.
Up next, a Quebec couple could owe $20,000 after a work permit holdup delayed childbirth, plus more local stories. We will be right back.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. Welcome back. The couple residing in Quebec City faces a potential $20,000 medical bill for the delivery of their second child after a work permit renewal stalled for several months. Under Quebec law, eligibility for the province's public health plan, which covers maternity services, hinges on a current work permit. Officials say the pending renewal could suspend their coverage before the birth, leaving the family responsible for the full cost of hospital care. The couple, who successfully navigated the system for their first child, now await a decision that could take up to 3 months. A timeline that overlaps with the expected delivery date in late autumn. If the permit remains pending, the provincial insurer, RAMQ, would classify them as uninsured, triggering the full hospital fee schedule. Health experts note that similar delays have left other temporary residents without insurance during critical periods.
Quebec Provincial Police have located the missing 15-year-old girl in St. Hyacinthe and confirmed she is safe. Authorities say the search ended successfully. Elise Marchand has the full story.
Police say the 15-year-old girl reported missing early Monday has been located in a residential area of St. Hyacinthe. Officers from the Sûreté du Québec arrived at the scene around midday, escorted the teen to a waiting squad car, and confirmed she was unharmed and able to speak with family. Neighbors described hearing voices as officers searched the block, and a neighbor reported seeing the girl step out of a side door shortly before officers arrived. The investigation, which began after a missing person report was filed late Sunday, concluded with the safe recovery, and police are now reviewing the circumstances that led to her disappearance. No further details have been released at this time. Elise Marchand, GMNA News, St. Hyacinthe.
Quebec's Association of Psychiatric Physicians issued a formal request today for the creation of a dedicated Minister of Mental Health, arguing that the province's current cabinet structure leaves mental health policy fragmented. The group called on the provincial government to appoint a minister solely responsible for mental health services and to make those issues a central theme in upcoming electoral debates. Association leaders said that without a focused portfolio, coordination of care, funding, and prevention strategies remains uneven across the health system. They pointed to rising demand for psychiatric care and the lingering impacts of the pandemic as evidence that a single minister could streamline initiatives and improve outcomes. The association stressed that elevating mental health to a cabinet-level priority would signal a clear commitment to addressing the province's growing mental health challenges.
Quebec travelers are stranded in Mexico as WestJet's ongoing labor dispute has halted the carrier's flights. The work stoppage forced the cancellation of several scheduled services, leaving passengers from Centre du Québec and Estrie unable to board return trips. Officials with the airline say the dispute centers on contract negotiations and is expected to continue, meaning dozens more travelers may remain grounded abroad. Consular officials in Mexico are coordinating with WestJet to provide assistance, though accommodation and meals remain a concern for those awaiting a resolution. The airline has urged affected customers to monitor updates through its website and phone lines, while the federal transportation regulator is reviewing the impact on Canadian travelers. As the situation unfolds, families back home await news of when loved ones will be able to fly home.
July brought multiple tornadoes, large hailstorms, and brief heat spikes to Quebec, even as overall provincial temperatures stayed within normal ranges for the month. Antin Prevost has the full story.
Two tornadoes ripped through rural outskirts of Quebec yesterday, leaving a trail of downed trees and scattered debris along Highway 21. In the same week, a severe hailstorm battered the town of Saint-Jean, hurling balls the size of golf balls that pounded rooftops and shattered car windows. Meanwhile, a heat wave pushed temperatures to an uncomfortable 35 degrees Celsius in Montreal, prompting residents to seek shade and cooling centers. Meteorologists say the temperature spike was brief, with overall July readings staying within the province's normal range. Despite the typical warmth, the month stood out for the intensity of these storms and the sudden, localized heat surge. Antin Prevost, GMNA News, Montreal.
Now let's turn to the forecast and see what tonight's weather has in store.
A southerly jet stream surge over a rising ridge sets tonight's clear, stable air for Montreal. On this date, Montreal once burned to 33.8 degrees Celsius in 2016, a blistering peak that rode the tail of a lingering heat wave across southern Quebec. The opposite extreme fell to 11 degrees Celsius in 2013, when a sudden Arctic surge snuck south behind a stalled front, shattering early summer expectations. Today's climatology sits near a normal high of 29 and a normal low of 19, so the current readings sit comfortably between the historic extremes. The live radar is a clean canvas tonight. No rain echoes across the province. A gentle ridge of high pressure dominates, keeping the air dry and stable. With the jet stream barreling southwest to northeast at 122 kilometers per hour, any lingering moisture is swept eastward. Expect the clear pattern to linger over Montreal through the night, clearing completely by early morning. At 11 p.m. Montreal rests under clear skies, temperature 24 degrees, humidity 71%, and a light southeast breeze at 6 kilometers per hour. Pressure is near average and nudging upward, sealing in the dry air that the jet stream is driving aloft. This ridge will hold through the night, so temperatures will dip only to 18 by dawn. By sunrise, the sun will climb behind a thin high-level cloud veil, but the ridge will keep heating modest, reaching a daytime high of 30 degrees. The UV index will register 8, reflecting strong solar intensity despite the thin clouds. Winds will remain modest, never exceeding 25 kilometers per hour, so wind chill is negligible. No weather alerts are in force, allowing a tranquil evening transition to tomorrow's overcast start. Looking ahead, Thursday brings a cooler spell with a high of 27 and a low of 21 under overcast skies. The lingering ridge will shift east, allowing a weak cold front to slide in, setting the stage for Friday's high of 29 and low of 21, but with 35% chance of rain as clouds thicken. Saturday remains the wettest day, holding a high of 27, low of 21, and a 50% rain probability as the front deepens. Sunday clears dramatically, delivering a high of 26 and a low of 20, thanks to a building ridge that pushes the jet stream northward. Monday stays mostly clear with a high of 26, low of 20, and a modest 25% chance of showers as the ridge weakens. And that's your weather. Remember, the wrap is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
Coming up, traffic updates. What's on today and the latest in sports as the Canadians sign defenseman Schuber. We will be right back.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
And now here's Jason with sports.
Habs' blue line gets deeper and their goalie means business. Montreal locked up defenseman Maximilian Schuber on a one-year, two-way deal for next season. Schuber came to the organization as part of the Joshua Roy trade with Utah, and getting him signed means the Canadians are keeping their own assets in-house. Watch his name in the battle for Laval roster spots this fall. Jacob Dobish is back in Montreal, and he is not keeping quiet about what drives him. The Canadiens netminder says he has 4 more years ahead of him with one goal, the Stanley Cup. That is the kind of declaration that sets a tone in a locker room and puts the fanbase on notice that this group believes its window is open. Alex Newhook is home in Newfoundland for the 3rd annual Newhook and Friends Golf Classic, but the real off-season conversation around the Canadiens centers on Alexander Carrier and what role he carves out heading into 2027. That depth chart question is one to watch when camp opens.
Welcome back. The Communauté Métropolitaine de Montréal has asked the Quebec government to fund a mapping project identifying buildings most vulnerable to flooding, as intensifying rainstorms drive a surge in local flood incidents. Camille Dowsett has the full story.
Officials with the Communauté Métropolitaine de Montréal have formally asked the Quebec provincial government to back a new mapping initiative that will pinpoint which buildings sit in the city's most flood-prone zones. The request, delivered by Mayor Soria Martinez Ferrada, comes as Montreal grapples with a surge in severe rainstorms that have turned occasional street flooding into a regular threat to homes and businesses. Planners say the database will combine historic flood data, topographical surveys, and climate projections to create a public access map for emergency responders and property owners. The province's response will determine how quickly the city can prioritize repairs, adjust zoning rules, and improve resilience ahead of the next storm season. Camille Dowsett, GMNA News, Montreal.
Residents gathered Monday evening to demand answers from city officials over repeated flood response issues. The borough seeks clarification on municipal handling. Antoine Prévost has the full story.
On Monday evening, August 3rd, 2026, residents of the Pierrefonds Roxborough borough gathered on the main thoroughfare, holding signs and chanting for answers as municipal officials arrive to address the community's concerns. The protest follows a series of flood events that have battered the neighborhood over the past several years, leaving homes and streets repeatedly submerged. Protesters demanded a clear plan from the city, questioning why response measures have not prevented the recurring damage. City representatives stood near the crowd, offering brief statements about ongoing assessments and future infrastructure upgrades, but many in the crowd remained unsatisfied, calling for immediate action. The tension lingered as the evening faded, with residents insisting their voices be heard. Antoine Prévost, GMNA News, Pierrefonds.
Thank you, Montreal, for joining us on the wrap. Tonight's highlight was Jacob Tierney's request for fans to give the crew space as Season 2 begins filming across the city in Toronto. We appreciate your curiosity and look forward to bringing you more stories tomorrow. Stay tuned and have a great night.